Now, from Wish TV, your local news source, this is All Indiana Politics.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome to another edition of All Indiana Politics. I'm Phil Sanchez. We now know Jennifer McCormick's preferred running mate, former state representative Terry Goodin, will run to be her lieutenant governor at the Indiana Democratic Party convention on July 13th. McCormick made the announcement on Thursday. Goodin spoke on the need for party unity and addressed some past votes that might put him at odds with the party's base.
I've traveled many parts of the state in the last 2 years, and I was troubled by what I saw. In county after county, small towns and small cities seem to be going out of business. I think you folks can understand what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, the current leadership in our state seems to be okay with this, as they have implemented no real policies that we rebuild our small communities, our rural communities, and also there's no vision to help them become areas of opportunity. We can do better than that in Indiana, folks. We start doing better by guaranteeing that every student gets a great education in a safe school. Thank you. We start by doing better by recognizing that a world-class education leads to great paying union jobs, folks. And let me say this, and we must stand up for the decency of equal pay for equal work. Folks, hear me when I say this, because I want this to be very clear. No Hoosier should work a full-time job and still live in poverty. Moving on, folks, there's a real battle going on in our state right now against women's personal freedoms and their individual rights. I know in my 20 years of service in the legislature, my vote on women's reproductive rights have been somewhat spotty at best. But I was always counseled by those female colleagues who had told me that, hey, if we go too far, Roe Wade will be there to catch us. There's a safety net there. Well, folks, that safety net is gone. The Dobbs decision has erased all of that. The Dobbs decision has put us in an entirely new universe. The Dobbs decision was an all-out assault on a woman's personal freedoms and individual rights. It was politically motivated, it was a partisan decision, and it was wrong. As defenders of individual rights and personal freedoms and plain old common sense, folks, we must do everything we can to restore the rights of women to make decisions about their own body. In contrast, folks, my competition, Micah Beckwith, does not believe a woman has the right to choose and make decisions about her own body. Be very clear, I do. Folks, it's quite simple. Elections are about the future, and that future should include all Hoosiers. I promise you the McCormick-Gooden administration will leave no one behind. Where there is wrong, our administration will work to make it right. Where there is injustice, our administration will fight for justice. And where there is hurt, our administration will help to heal it. I will start that healing today by telling you this. In 2011, I voted against allowing gay couples to get married in our state. At that time, I did not realize with that vote I had totally dehumanized, demeaned, and hurt thousands of Hoosiers. I'm person enough to stand here and say I am sorry for that. I caused that hurt on so many Hoosiers. Like many other Hoosiers with time and growth, I've come to realize my vote was wrong and misguided. Now, I can't go back 13 years and change that vote, but I can confirm this. I can confirm that love is love, and if two people want to affirm that love with marriage, they should have the right to do so in the great state of Indiana. Folks, the competition does not believe that people should be able to love or can love who they want to love. I do. Folks, finally, my experience in agriculture, small business, education, as well as serving 20 years in your state house, has surely got to be a great benefit for all Hoosiers. And as I talk to Hoosiers across our great state, all they do is they simply ask for the opportunity to get a good job so they can raise their families with dignity and their children can have hope for a brighter tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Micah Beckwith is back on the campaign trail. He upset Mike Braun's choice for lieutenant governor at the Republican convention a week ago, and here's what he had to say after he won.
Thank you, Indiana. I am humbled, I'm overwhelmed, and I am encouraged that Indiana knows that the power of the government rests with the people. There are so many amazing people in this audience today, and I want to tell you one thing. The Republican Party should be incredibly excited around the state of Indiana right now. We have traveled the state, and I have seen so many encouraging signs that our nation is going in the right direction because of states like Indiana, because of what I see around this entire state every single day for the last year and a half. I want to let you know that I will be a lieutenant governor that will always put others first. My wife Susan and I, we will stand with you when you need someone to stand with. We will pray for you when you need prayer. We will fight for you when you need a warrior to fight with you. And I want to say this about our next governor, Mike Braun. I'm excited to work with that man. He's going to do great things for our state. I have said my job as lieutenant governor will be to do everything in my power to make him the most successful conservative governor in the entire United States. Let's make sure Indiana is in those conversations when we reference states like Florida and Texas and Indiana. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to all the volunteers, to the hard work, my team, my beautiful wife Susan, my incredible team on the Beckwith for lieutenant governor. I could not, on that train, I could not do it without you. Give it up for them right now. And most importantly, I want the entire state and the entire nation to hear this. We know that if God's people will humble themselves, will pray, will turn from their wicked ways and repent, He will hear them from heaven and He will heal their land. And Indiana, let's do this together. I am fully convinced that what John 8:32 says, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. If we want freedom to reign in Indiana and across this nation so the whole world can see that beautiful city on a hill again, let's speak the truth. Let's speak it in love. Let's do it boldly and never back down from what is right and true. Again, I am incredibly honored and blessed and humbled to be your lieutenant governor nominee. We will not let you down. We will work tirelessly for the people of Indiana, and together we're going to see America become that great nation again under President Trump, under Mike Braun, and then me as your lieutenant governor. Let's go do this.
All right, coming up, the stage is set for a historic showdown, a look at the first debate in U.S. history between a sitting president and a former president. Welcome back. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are gearing up for a historic showdown. Julia Benbrook takes a look at the razor-thin race just 1 week out from the candidates' first face-off this election season.
Political rivals, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, are scheduled to step on to CNN's debate stage next Thursday. It's the first debate in U.S. history between a sitting president and a former president.
Is anybody going to watch the debate? He's going to be so pumped up. He's going to be pumped up. I'll be debating 3 people instead of one half of a person.
Only Biden and Trump met the debate requirements set by the network, which included constitutional, polling, and ballot qualification thresholds. A lot is on the line for both candidates.
What do you think you need to accomplish on that debate stage?
Say what I think. Let him say what he thinks. The things he said are off the wall.
The two remain locked in a close race. A national poll published by Fox News on Wednesday shows Biden leading Trump by 2 points. It's a 3-point improvement for Biden over last month's Fox News poll, where Trump led by 1 point. Some experts say Trump's recent criminal conviction could be a factor.
Trump is a convicted felon now, which he wasn't a few months ago, and independent voters really don't like that in their president.
President Biden does have a slight advantage with some of those swing voters. Now, granted, we're 5 months ahead. Those numbers are going to constantly change.
The debate could be a defining moment in a presidential race that's solidified earlier than usual and features 2 universally known candidates. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
And a reminder, you can tune into the CNN presidential debate simulcast Thursday night at 9 o'clock on CNN or here on Wish TV. Coming up, Indiana's best political team takes stock of contentious fights on both sides of the aisle over the state's second highest job. Welcome back to All Indiana Politics as we welcome in 2 members of Indiana's best political team, Democrat Dana Black and Republican Allie Bartlett. This week was all about the state's second highest jobs. Let's jump right in here. Dana, some Democrats already are saying Terry Goodin is not a good pick due to his past positions on social issues. What say you?
So I am among those that believe that people can be redeemed and they can change and they can alter their views. I know that in my 54 years of existence, I have changed positions many a time. So I am going to take the man at his word. He said he made a mistake. It was my community that he harmed. Now, the thing is, we still have a vote at the convention, so you never know. He might end up with a challenger who's going to come after him at the convention on July 13th. But if he says he changed his positions on things, I gotta believe him. But I will also, if he does win the vote, I am going to hold him accountable. I'm going to make sure that he lives up to what he said and that he believes that love is love and that everyone has a right to exist, because I know Micah Beckwith doesn't.
Well, Allie, there you go. Do the disagreements around Gooden provide an opportunity for Republicans, and how does this affect their strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I think, moving forward into the fall, I think both sides are going to be focused on one thing, and that's the top of the ticket, right? So that's the debate going forward between Jennifer McCormick and Mike Braun. Obviously, the lieutenant governor races on both sides have received some attention, but I do think there is, this stark difference, because at our convention, Mike Braun immediately embraced Micah Beckwith, and there were comments on both sides about their agreement to work together moving forward. Mike Braun is going to be the one at the head of that ticket, and that's, whose message we're going to be following. And you heard in Micah's comments just now that his commitment is to serve Mike Braun and make sure that he is the best governor he can be.
We'll go back to that relationship in a moment. But first, Dana, I want to go back to what you just said a little while ago. We're less than a month away from the Democratic convention. So what are the chances that delegates may choose someone other than Gooden?
I mean, if you put your name on the ballot, there's always a chance, right? And I have to agree with Allie. We are going to be focused at the top of the ticket. I mean, it really is going to come down to Jennifer McCormick and Mike Braun. But I will say this, only one candidate is not excited about getting an endorsement from a convicted felon. Only one candidate on the ballot. There's only one candidate on the ballot that is really saying that I'm going to look out for all Hoosiers. Mike Braun ain't doing that. Mike Braun is too busy trying to be a Trump acolyte. He is not good for our state. And in my opinion, Micah Beckwith should be nowhere near our state house.
Allie, I'll let you respond to that. Go ahead.
I mean, Mike Braun has a record in his service in the United States Senate of looking out for all Hoosiers. I mean, he is a proven advocate for the Hoosier state, and he also served in the state legislature. And not to mention the fact that he built his own business from the ground up. Like, he understands Hoosiers and who we are, and the people have spoken. I mean, he is going to be our governor in November, and he is going to do an incredible job advocating for Hoosiers all across the state, on the state and federal level. He has a proven record. I just don't really think it's up for dispute.
I like that you said the people have spoken. Could you talk to your guy, Aaron Freeman, and tell him that when the people of Marion County speak, to let us do what we do? But listen, we have seen what the Republican Party can do when it comes to governing at the federal level, where Senator Braun has been, and that's nothing. They haven't really accomplished what they needed to do as leaders in the federal government. So he's going to bring that same leadership down here to Indiana to be the CEO of our state, where he is literally begging for someone to endorse him or be on his team who was found guilty of fraud.
All right. Well, you know what? Allie, I just want to get your thoughts on, going forward. What maybe is the campaign strategy? Democrats have called Micah, a self-described Christian nationalist, as he actually calls himself. What does that say about where the party is going in November?
I mean, I don't think it says a lot about where the party is going in November, because our gubernatorial nominee is Mike Braun, and that's whose record we are going to be voting on in November. Mike Braun's name is on the ticket. We are voting for Mike Braun. Like I said, even in Micah's comments at the convention, he has dedicated himself to serving in a capacity that will make Mike Braun the best governor he can be. And Mike Braun's record speaks for itself. I mean, Mike Braun built a business from the ground up here in the state of Indiana. He's an experienced businessman. He knows how to cooperate with people, and even people that maybe he didn't choose from the very beginning. I don't think it says anything about our party or the direction of our party, except for the fact that we can bring all Hoosiers together.
Dana's shaking her head in disagreement. Go ahead, Dana, respond, and then we'll move on.
The lieutenant governor is the president of the Senate. So if you don't think that he will have influence over legislation and bills that get called to committees and get called to the floor for a vote, and we already know he is in the habit of creating chaos no matter what council body that he sits on. Micah Beckwith should be nowhere near our state house. So yeah, sure, Mike Braun is at the top of the ticket, but if people don't understand how legislation works, it's got to go through the House and the Senate before it gets to the governor's desk. Micah is in control of that.
Okay, we want to move on. We could do an entire segment on this, ladies, but I got something else I want to get to, and that's Thursday night.
Real quick, I think we should clarify that as president of the Senate, he does not have a vote on legislation unless it's a tiebreaker.
He has influence. Influence is what I said. Influence.
Okay.
Yeah, but
all right,
he does not vote
President
on
Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump will meet in the CNN presidential debate, as you very well know. Dana, how important is this debate for Joe Biden?
I think it'll be great to put him up against someone who really hasn't offered any policy stance at all in the 4 years that he's been running for re-election as president from Mar-a-Lago and all the other places. All we know, we will hear again how former President Trump is all about retribution and getting even with people. He's even said out loud, "I don't care about you. I just want your vote." So hopefully he would just be himself and continue to, show the world that he really is only out for himself. I mean, I think Joe Biden will be able to show a contrast because he's compassionate. He looks out for the people. He literally just passed another student loan forgiveness option just yesterday. Okay. So he is looking out for the people.
I'm almost out of time. I want to get Allie in here too. Allie, Donald Trump, what does he need to do to win? I have 30 seconds left. Go ahead.
I actually think that Donald Trump does just need to be himself to win. I mean, Joe Biden is going to literally dig his own grave, and we've seen that. I almost feel bad for him over his lack of capacity. Donald Trump doesn't need to sell himself because he's already done that. He's going to outshine Joe Biden in every way, and I'm really excited to watch it.
And you can watch that right here on Wish TV, of course. Good conversation as always. Good to see you both. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon, and we will be right back. Thank you for joining us for All Indiana Politics this week. We'll be back here, of course, next Sunday morning at 9:30, as always. And be sure to tune in at 11 o'clock this morning for The Hills Sunday with Chris Steyerwalt. Have a great rest of your weekend.